Hey, Upper East Siders and all you scandal-loving listeners out there. You just tuned into the Non-Judging Breakfast Pod, where the coffee is strong, the waffles are fresh, and the gossip is hotter than ever. My name is Leif, and I'm your seasoned Gossip Girl veteran.
And I'm Steve. I'm the newbie, the greenhorn, I don't know, Leif, what do you call the new kid on the block in Gossip Girl terms?
I don't know. You probably stayed up all night crying when you were trying to do SAT prep, so I think you're still a project.
You assume that I did any SAT prep whatsoever. Although, yeah, that one got me. So let's get into this, folks.
Sounds good.
So Leif is a fan of the show since the beginning, and I'm diving in for the very first time. And together, we're your dynamic duo, bringing you all the drama, the romance, and sometimes questionable fashion choices of this iconic 2007 show.
That's right. Each week, we're going to break down all the latest schemes, secret hookups, and couture catastrophes. And trust me, there are plenty of them.
And since we're all about inclusivity here at the Non-Judging Breakfast Table, there's always a seat for you, so go ahead and grab your coffee, grab a mimosa, or some of Nate and Chuck's special medicine, and we're going to get right into this episode.
Today we are talking about Season 1, Episode 15, Desperately Seeking Serena. Did you get the title reference?
100%. I have two older sisters that were obsessed with Madonna in the early 80s. I have seen Desperately Seeking Susan.
Okay, good, because I've never seen it.
I have actually seen that movie multiple times. I loved it. It was this movie about a woman who becomes obsessed with this other woman, this like starlet.
Rosanna Arquette.
Yeah, Rosanna Arquette becomes obsessed with Madonna's character and basically tries to become her. Yeah. And I honestly don't remember like all the ins and outs of it because I was young, but I do know I've seen it several times, and it was also probably in the category that we've discussed of movies that were probably too mature for me to be watching when I was watching them.
I also kind of noticed that for 1985, it actually had a woman director.
Oh, yeah. Yes. That I remember that actually
Suzanne
being a big deal.
Seidelman?
Yeah.
I've never seen any of her movies, but I guess I've seen her she did 3 episodes of the Sex and the City, the first season, including the pilot.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
All right.
It's been a while since I watched that show, so I can't really think of any details about the individual episodes. But
yeah,
they brought her in to do a pilot of a big show, so she must have done a good job at it.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know? Do you look up any of her other movies?
She did like 2 or 3. Yeah, nothing like stood out. Yeah, they're all like 80s and 70s, pretty much.
Yeah.
So this episode was written by Felicia D. Henderson's back. This is her 4th episode of the season already. She did Poison Ivy, 17 Candles, and A Thin Line Between Nate and Chuck.
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah, those first 2 are really good.
Yeah. Oh, I actually really liked Thin Line too. You know, that Thin Line was that culminating episode with where everything 13, but Rufus was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was directed by Michael Fields, who also directed Roman Holiday.
Which is another pretty good episode. Yeah. So, yeah, which, I mean, spoiler alert, this was not my favorite. This one...
Not great.
This one felt the writer's strike.
Yeah. Yes. April 28th, 2008 was the original air date.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and get into it. There are 3 things we do alone. We are born, we die, and if we're a high school junior headed for college, we take the SATs. And while a test is said to measure our best traits, preparing for it inevitably brings out the worst. Humility becomes self-doubt. Striving becomes obsession. Some are driven to self-medication, while others cling to the security of being part of a group. And anyone who's used to bending the rules will find themselves breaking them. Gossip Girl monologues as we get a montage of our main cast prepping for SATs.
Yeah, I liked that they brought in an SATs episode. Like, I thought that was neat.
Yeah.
I feel like it's something that is very familiar to a lot of the people that would be watching this show. I feel like this show is geared toward the high school crowd that, and with
now they haven't actually shown any actual class going to class, but
right. But
they're
the
finally actually showing
demographic.
something related to actual school.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the prep scenes that we see make sense, right? Dan panicking.
Yeah, you definitely see their characters coming through.
Yeah. Nate, Chuck paying someone off. You know, like I thought that one was the one that was like,
that checks out. Rufus gives Dan a pep talk and informs Jenny that he is walking her to school.
The Dan thing with like when I struck out at T-ball is one of my favorite things because like
so pathetic.
Because and for him to be like it was on a tee,
like, and he realizes how pathetic it is.
Yeah, like and it's because you see those kids that have done that, and you're like, oh my god, oh it's right there, it's right there.
Poor Dan.
Poor Dan.
Serena and Blair are in the courtyard discussing practice scores and Nelly Yuki, Blair's biggest competition for Yale.
And so I actually looked this up last night because there's been changes to the SATs over the years. And when I was in high school, the top score was a 1600, which it is now as well.
It went back?
Yeah, it did in 2016. Okay. So I know
this was definitely in that era when it was the 2400 or something was the highest.
It was 2400 was the highest. And
this was after me as well.
Yeah, so there was also more questions on it, and there was a writing portion. Now the writing portion is optional, and there's only 154 questions, and it's back to being 1600 points. And that switch happened, like I said, in 2016. But in 27 or in
2 years
07,
after the show ended.
Exactly, almost a decade later when they changed it. So they did, and it wasn't the first time they changed it either. Like even for us, like the SATs evolve constantly. So, but now they really have to keep reining it in because fewer and fewer colleges are mandating them. So they're kind of becoming obsolete. So they have to kind of keep themselves relevant.
Well, I remember towards basically like the few years after me, the ACT started coming up as like a competition. You can take that like it was like an and or type of thing.
Yes, there was a window, and I think that was actually during some of the adjustment period for the SATs.
Yeah, that's like when it happened.
Yeah, because when I was in high school, it's like you could take the ACTs, but why would you? Yeah. Like, and especially me, like the kids that were going to like Harvard and Yale were taking those because I went to a school where kids would graduate and go to Harvard, or they'd go to Lockhaven like I did, or it had a very wide trajectory.
Chuck and Blair pass each other, and then Chuck sits down and tells Serena that Georgina is out of the country, in Sweden to be specific.
Yeah, little bit of foreshadowing here as well, because he mentions that there's a little redhead that would love to pretend to be Serena Vanderwoodson for a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, he offers
we get Chuck's great orange trench coat here.
Yeah.
And then later he has a red coat as well. He has an orange coat and then a bright red coat as well.
Yeah, Robin was like, that is hideous. What is he wearing? And I liked it. Yeah, I was like, I think that's kind of dope.
Not many people could pull it off, but Chuck, I thought he pulls it off.
Yeah, Chuck is one of those people that kind of pulls off whatever he wants.
Yeah, just because of his confidence.
Yeah.
And then Jenny is trying to set up SAT prep for the minions, but Blair swoops in with a much better study session. The one that only money could buy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Nate and Dan have a brief conversation before Serena show up. They talk about having a study date.
Why are you coming at him so hard for playing soccer, though? Like Dan just and I love how Dan recognizes that he's doing it too.
Well, the reason why he's doing, I trying to get into the psychology of Dan, I guess, is that he was like, he's so in his head about the test. He's like, why are you so calm just playing soccer?
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, it turns out he already took the test. He's not even taking the test.
Yeah, and the one of the big positives of this episode I felt was cool Nate Dan stuff. Like, I love their kind of non-friendship, you know, like they just really, I love when they have scenes together because I like how they act toward each other.
Yes.
Generally.
We'll get into it at the end there. We'll get into it at the end. I have things to say about that. Then, as Dan leaves, Georgina in the country obviously shows up.
Yeah, and so I'm a huge Buffy fan. I have seen Buffy. I've seen the series multiple times, minimum 5 times front to start. Probably more with starts and stops, and definitely a lot of like favorite episodes that I've rewatched. I love Buffy, right? And so I saw Michelle Trachtenberg play a 15-year-old at 15, and a 16-year-old at 16, and a 17-year-old at 17. Mm-hmm. So it's really weird to see Michelle Trachtenberg at 20, at like 20, playing a 17-year-old. Where I know that they're all older than they are, but I know she's older. So it's a little bit more of like a head fuck to me.
Yeah. But she always seemed younger on Buffy.
She was written so terribly on, like I could do a thesis on what they did wrong with her character, because they wrote her character like they wanted a little sister. They wanted a 12-year-old and cast a 15-year-old, and then didn't know how to write for a 15-year-old, and so basically wrote the 15-year-old as a 12-year-old. That's how it always feels to me. But so you're right, because she always played this like young and troubled ingenue, but she also was very clearly 15 when she came on. Like that was what they always, like my 15-year-old sister, like, because she was a freshman when.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
We go to commercial break, and we come back, and Georgina threatens Serena into having a drink with her.
Yeah.
But why? Why is Serena so scared of her?
Yeah. Like and this is something that I actually bring up later. Like, why is she so afraid of her? And it's like, everybody knows that you had a big party past. Like, is this murder? Is this like, did someone die? Because how fucking serious can any of it be if because for someone to have this kind of hold on you when everything you've ever done has been public and out? How is this one thing so shameful?
And also, I don't think Michelle Trachtenberg sells it.
No,
she doesn't sell it at all.
No, she's not threatening.
No,
she doesn't come off as threatening.
And in the books, Georgina is a very charismatic. She's like a female Chuck.
Yeah. One of my big opinions of this episode, and where I talk about the writer's strike. So Georgina's in the books. She's a big character. And it feels to me like they came out of the writer's strike with, okay, we've got to introduce someone new. Like, we've got to do something to really punch this up and kick it up. So we've got to introduce her now. We can't wait till season 1. It felt like they wanted to do this as a season premiere, but then came out of the writer's strike and were like, well, shit, we better do it now. And then this was the intro that they got.
Yeah. Jenny meets her mini-minion to scout potential boyfriends. Little J is continuing her downward spiral towards evil.
Yeah. Yeah, the
totally brushes off the guy because he's a lowly dog walker.
Like, come on. Like, we see well, he's just a dog walker. He clearly can't own those dogs. Like, for Christ's sake. And the dude looks 22.
Yeah.
Like, like, so far they at least kind of pass. Like, we can pretend. But this dude looks like he's, like, a finance bro on Wall Street. Like,
yeah. He probably is now.
Yeah. He probably is.
And then Nate shows up at the cafe to give Dan some SAT prep books. Vanessa is a bitch for no reason at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the fuck, Vanessa?
Yeah, like, Vanessa, like, all the dude did was walk in and offer books. Hey, guy that I am kind of friends with, who I'm trying to be cool with, here's some books to help you out. And she's just fucking vile towards him.
For no reason at all.
Yeah. And I also wanted to make the point of Nate getting a good score on the SAT. We talk a lot about dumb Nate, right? Mm-hmm. But him getting a good score on the SAT actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Because he's first of all, he's, saying what
he is the definition of a square peg right in that square hole.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And like
he's right down the middle.
Yeah, he would know how to go in and take a test like that, and he would pay all of the right people to give him the right test prep.
Yeah, all those fancy books.
Yeah, he wouldn't be nervous about it.
Yeah.
His reasoning for already taking it is great. I don't want my parents to help. My parents aren't going to help me get in there, so I need to get in on my own. Yeah. So, like, all of that really made sense because he's also not, like, normal dumb. He's, like, dumb for his school. Yeah. And he's, like, dumb in how he acts toward and how people treat him.
Yeah, he's kind of oblivious.
Like, and naive.
He's easily led.
Yeah, he's easily led.
He's a golden retriever.
Yeah, yeah. Easily taught, easily led.
Serena and Georgina are having drinks at a bar. Peer pressure is a hell of a drug.
Oh my God, it felt like a fucking after-school special. It felt so much like a fucking lame...
definitely a bit on the nose.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But Blair's study session was actually a cover for a Nelly Yuki takedown.
Yeah, I mean, Blair's being devious. And being devious and winning her friends back deviously and asserting her power.
They definitely did not want to go back to Brooklyn.
Nope.
They were super excited when they heard about Blair's session.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, I gotta go study at Jenny's freaking loft again. Yeah.
No. This dad's lasagna.
It is my on Rufus again.
Yeah. I'm surprised Iz didn't speak up.
Back at the bar, old Serena is back, or maybe not. So yeah, they're having some fun, but then when she finds out about the coke, she's out of there.
Yeah, like, you're just out there making bad decisions, and like, what did you expect? Like, and then she calls Chuck. Instead of being like, hey, Dan, I fucked up. I ran into an old friend and blew you off. I'm sorry. But no, I can't let him even know that she exists.
Yeah. So, I was going to get into this later when she's actually at his hotel. So, I don't know if either the show is just trying to ignore the first episode, or if she's just so used to being sexually assaulted by people that are close to her, like her stepdad, multiple stepdads.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, it feels so bad for Serena.
Yeah.
That she's able to just go and trust this guy.
That like he's her only hope is the guy that tried to assault her in episode 1. And really, honestly, and I think that it's like kind of shitty on the writers, but I feel like more than anything it is we're just pretending like that didn't happen, and we're just gonna make him, because they've done these episodes to make him look better, and he has done good things. And I really feel like the writers across the board have let him. The only person who has not let him off the hook is Dan, and that's about Jenny. You know, and they just ignore the assault on Serena. And
well, only Serena knows about it.
Yeah,
presumably.
Well, yeah.
Nate, back at the bar, Serena calls Chuck and asks him to cover for her with Dan. I'm sure this will go great.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And Chuck's creepy.
Yeah. So Dan confronts Chuck about harassing Serena. Serena shows up and is immediately caught in a lie. Dan, rightly confused, leaves. Chuck wonders why Serena doesn't just tell Dan about Georgina.
Yeah, my note on this is annoying and dumb.
Yeah.
Dan knows she has a past. Dan doesn't care that she has a past.
Yeah.
And like Dan is so fucking in love with her that if she was like, look, I was drunk driving and killed an old man, Dan would be like, oh shit, I'll make sure no one ever finds out.
You feel bad about it though.
He would.
Yeah.
He would.
Yeah, totally.
But like,
he would be like, oh, you feel bad about this. That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's totally weird. Why does Georgina have so much power?
Yeah, someone better be dead. Otherwise, like all of this is just super disappointing. Unless someone is dead. That's where my bar is set.
Blair and the minions are trying to pinpoint Nelly Yuki's weakness. And it seems like they find it. Apparently
Flo Rida.
Yeah.
Yeah, she can't hear.
Flo Rida is her kryptonite.
A Flo Rida song. That felt a little forced.
Yeah. Product placement.
Yeah.
Jenny is still scouting for boyfriends and surprised that the dog walker might actually be rich.
What? That's my note.
Jenny is not looking good this episode.
Yeah. Like, of fucking course he is.
And, yeah, really. I mean, who are you to be a beggar for this Jenny?
Yeah. God, fucking. Okay.
We wanted to like you so much, Jenny.
So much.
Blair is pure evil. She walks by yelling Nelly Yuki playing a Flo Rida song and weasels her way in.
Not this song. Like, why are you even talking to her? Why are you even saying it? She's walking down.
It's her kryptonite. It's her kryptonite, dude.
But like, she would be out of the hallway if you would have just kept your mouth shut. Like, it was just so forced and so like.
But it has to show how smart Blair is, you know.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that whole thing about writers writing smart characters. Yeah. Nate meets Vanessa for coffee, and Vanessa realizes that Nate is actually a decent guy. Vanessa still has no boundaries, and I guess these two are going to hook up now.
She's such an asshole.
Like, doesn't apologize for like invading his privacy, just apologize. Oh, I thought you were total airhead douchebag.
Yeah. Like, man, I just totally judged you. And I love how, so you come to Brooklyn often? Yeah, my dad's in rehab, like up the street here. Oh, yeah. And at that point, she does say like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and he's like, "It's front page news." Like, it's like,
no, she says sorry to pry. Yeah,
sorry to pry.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Now you're sorry.
Well, I mean, she's pretty sorry. Oh my God, she's such an asshole in this. Although I do kind of like
They do have decent chemistry.
They have good chemistry together, yeah.
Georgina calls to apologize to Serena.
Jesus Christ.
And Serena gets lured right back in.
Yeah. Seems like a sudden change for Georgina. Seems a little too, oh, I get it now, let's get together.
But Serena falls for it.
Yep. Because she can't say no to this person because someone might be dead.
Dan and Jenny are studying in the loft. Rufus comes home. Jenny finds out she is still grounded and is too young to date. It was nice there for a minute.
Come on, man. First of all, too young, like 14, like that's some dad shit. Like, because if you tell your kid you're too young to date, especially at like 14, what you're saying is you're too young for me to know you're dating someone.
Yeah.
They're not going to not do it.
Yeah.
They're just not going to tell you they're doing it. Like,
stupid as shit.
Like, how are you that fucking bad at this, Rufus?
Yeah.
Oh, you know why? Because you were what, like 15 when you had your kids, like 12 when you had kids? Because I think you're what, like maybe 12 years older than Dan. Maybe that's why you're such a terrible father.
Yeah, I think the actors have less than a decade in age difference.
I'm going to need to look that up because now it's starting to make sense why he's such a bad father.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got to be resentful towards his kids because if he was that young, because if he was in a touring band at 12 years old and all that came crashing to a halt because he got someone pregnant.
He was the original crisscross.
Lily, just imagining them all as like 11 and 12-year-olds following Lincoln Hawk around in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Like, come on, Mom, I want to tour with the band.
Wearing acid wash jeans.
Big poofy hair.
Yep. And then, let's see. So, at Blair's study session, Nellie's ex shows up. It looks like the takedown was a success.
Yeah. Because boys are so distracting to girls that they can't study for SATs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we'll just move on from that.
Yep.
Nate and Vanessa are walking down the street being flirty. They make out on the doorstep of the cafe.
We get a reference to Vanessa's sister's band here, which was cool. That I know that they're a part of the books, but they're not. You said that they're not in the show,
correct?
But they are canon in the show, which is really neat. That the lesbian punk band, And like I would like to think high school me would definitely be thinking that joke in my head, but I would like to think I would have the sense not to say it. Nope. High school me, 1994 Steve college me would have said that.
I mean, I would definitely be thinking it in my head.
Nope. I would have said it. And I would have gotten that reaction and I would have been the asshole. 100%, I'm owning it. I know I wouldn't have known better.
Serena and Georgina are having non-alcoholic beverages. Serena opens up about her feelings for Dan. Serena gets up to call Dan, and Georgina looks bored and decides to roofie Serena's drink.
Yeah.
Womp, womp, womp.
Yeah, and also, what drug did you give her that she was then able to go out and... Now, did they actually go out and party all night, or did she just drag her up to the hotel and tell her she was out partying all night, is the question. But, like...
We don't see it.
We're drugging people now? And telling them that they started doing Patron, and Serena just, I must have started... Like, who doesn't remember when they start drinking?
Well, apparently, Serena has a history.
Yeah.
At 13.
Yeah, at 13. Well, but like, yes, she has a history, but like, been drunk, and I've been drunk to the point where I don't remember everything I've done the night before, but I've never been so drunk so fast that I don't remember my first drink.
Yeah. Neither have I, but
yeah.
I mean,
so like, I mean, although at 16 you may not necessarily recognize like, wow, did I get so drunk that I forgot that first drink? But still, you were drugged, and why were you drugged? Why? What? Like what? To what end? Like, oh, so that she misses the SATs. It's like, okay, you're fucking with her, but like, to what end? Like,
well, it appears Georgina just wants to be friends with Serena again.
Right. So I'm gonna drug her. Like,
well, Georgina's obviously crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's that.
And then so Nate, or sorry, we get
we kind of combined
that was the end of Act 2. So we go into Act 3. Serena wakes up the next morning in Georgina's hotel room, and Serena's hungover and late for the SAT. Serena calls Chuck and asks him to hold the doors for her. Again, calling Chuck. Why not call Dan?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I overslept, Dan. Hold the doors for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
Like she's late to other things.
Yeah.
Like she's not necessarily, I'm not saying that she's late to everything, but she has been shown to not always be punctual.
Yeah. I mean, just say I overslept.
Yeah.
Can you hold the door for me?
Yeah.
Which is a partial truth, but it's still truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not the whole truth, but it's not lying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and also, you know, why is she ruining Serena? Like, why? But anyway,
because I guess what they're doing is saying, the writers are saying Dan is making Serena a better person, but Georgina makes Serena a worse person.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, the angel and the devil essentially.
Yeah. Sure.
Nate shows up to kidnap Vanessa. She reluctantly gets in the car with him.
Yeah, Nate, your privilege is kind of showing here.
Just leave work for the day.
Yeah, just have someone cover for you at your
clearly an hourly wage type of job.
Yeah, exactly. Just have someone cover for you at your job. They're called jobs. Wait, they give you a, what do you call it? A check?
Wait.
And yeah, the next scene is
Rufus and Jenny are having a chilly breakfast until it heats up.
Oh my god! Like,
you're so bad, Rufus.
I know.
Give her space. Give her space.
I will say this: power dad move. Power dad move of setting the phone down.
Yeah.
Cancel it. Now, like, I'm firmly like, Rufus, you are not doing a good job parenting, but that's a power move.
Yeah, so the grounding and telling him and telling her to cancel the date is definitely justified, because she did steal a very expensive dress.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah. Punishing her makes sense.
Don't force the conversation. Don't force her to be your friend.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the big thing. Oh, we're not going to sit here and not talk. Okay, then I'm going to talk to you about what's bothering me. Oh, well, we can't talk about that. Like, no, you can't fucking do that.
Yeah. And then Nate convinces Vanessa to take the SAT just to see what happens and keep her options open.
I mean, again, it's like Nate's privilege is, you know, no, I've just brought you here. Surprise. Now go take this test that I know you'll be good at. But it's like, what happens if I do great on that test? Are you going to pay for my college too? Like, are you going to, you know, what comes next?
I mean,
like, to what end?
I mean, I get the point. Just keep your options open.
I do. And I think that Nate is trying to do a good thing and trying to be nice. All of those things. I'm not really blaming Nate. It's just from a very privileged perspective.
Yeah, you should have like talked to her and then try to convince her to do it instead of just showing up there.
I also think that this show writes from a privileged perspective sometimes. That Vanessa just being like, you know what, you're right, was like, felt very like, when someone does something that's nice for you, you accept it. It's it kind of felt a little icky.
Nellie shows up for the test exhausted. For extra measure, Blair steals the batteries from her calculator.
Diabolical. Diabolical. And what's really funny is that why didn't you do that from the start? Like that is actually better sabotage than getting into her head, because
you gotta double up.
Yeah, but
double up on the sabotage.
But yeah, that girl was up all night distracted by her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and then we didn't even talk about how Blair basically
paid the boyfriend.
Tried to pimp out her friend to pay him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Not doing Todd.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you, guys.
Yeah.
Then we see Dan and Blair strangely friendly with each other. Are wondering where Serena is. Dan sees someone who is clearly not Serena checking in under the name Serena Vanderwood.
Yeah, the little redhead that said that Chuck referenced in the beginning.
And then, so we move to the epilogue after the commercial. We see Dan and Blair exiting together doing a post-game recap. Dan thinks Serena is with Chuck and then sees Serena hugging Nate, which is apparently bad for some reason to Dan. Blair sees them as well, and her looks of discomfort make more sense.
Yeah.
And so it's first like, it's kind of weird that Dan and Blair are suddenly very friendly.
Yeah. Although at the same time, I could see Blair being like, oh, you're worried about Serena. I'm worried. I could see that.
But she's always been like snarky towards him.
Yeah. Now there's none of it.
I have recently found out and only as we find out this is because it comes back in an Easter egg that Serena or Dan writes about later on, like in season 5. Apparently, one of the storylines that were dropped during the strike was there was going to be some kind of essay contest that Blair was in, and like no one showed up except for Dan to like watch her win this contest.
Oh,
but that storyline just never happened.
Yeah, interesting.
And then why is Dan so like perturbed about Nate and Vanessa?
I could see just you see a friend of yours and they're very friendly with someone that you didn't anticipate seeing that. I could see that being just like I wasn't really thrown by that.
I thought he looked upset by it.
I didn't really get the sense of upset as much. I also think that may have just been Penn Badgley not communicating his face very well. But I didn't really get upset. I got kind of like weird. Mostly because of how Vanessa talks about Nate.
I mean, just from my history of watching teen dramas, that's like a scene of like,
it feels
like a jealous scene.
Like they're both jealous. Yeah. Well, because Blair clearly is.
Yeah, and it totally makes sense why she would be jealous.
Yeah.
So that's why, it seems like it was written for them both to be like jealous.
Yeah. Yeah, which is weird. Well, although there could just be lingering Dan, there was some kind of something between Dan and Vanessa.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something lingering there. But it also, I kind of feel like this creates a Blair versus Vanessa thing. Blair has found that Vanessa is not easy to go after. She doesn't have the same motivations that Blair is used to. So that'll be really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Dan shows up at Chuck's to confront Serena about the redhead taking the test for her.
he's dressed like Fred from Scooby-Doo in this scene too. Like when I see him in like the purple and like it wasn't exactly that, but like that was my first thought is, oh my God, he looks like Fred.
Yes, I like that outfit too. Yeah, it's like a purple sweater over like a plaid, like a green and like pink plaid, paisley plaid or something like that.
Yeah, and the collar, the way it came up, almost looks like an ascot from afar, which made me really think of that.
And then even Chuck is surprised when Serena blows Dan off. What does Georgina have on Serena?
But seriously, what can she have? That's my note. But
yeah,
who's dead?
Serena shows up and tells Georgina to never contact her again. Georgina backs down way too easily.
Yeah, well, that seems well and done. Yeah.
At the loft, Asher shows up to have a date with Jenny, bag of hot dogs in hand. Asher smooth talks his way into the loft, food, of course, being the key to Rufus's heart.
Yeah, how did he find her? How did
Well, Jenny's on Gossip Girl now.
Oh, yeah. But, like, her address, though?
I mean, like, I guess someone's parent, like phone trees.
Yeah.
Remember, like they try, like Lily's trying to find Dan, and like no one knew who he was. Remember, early on in the season.
Yeah, because no one knows who Dan is.
Yeah. So like, there must be ways for students to track down other students.
Yeah.
Yes, and then we get so looks like got something going on between Jenny and Asher.
Jenny has found a young adult.
Yes. A statutory rapist, maybe.
Yeah. Yes, she is.
Now he clearly they clearly say he goes to high school.
Yes, yeah, which that's another red flag, Jenny. If he's 25 years old and still in high school, red flag.
And then the final scene of the episode, Georgina bumps into Dan, calling herself Sarah with a dog named Georgie. It looks like sparks, quote unquote, might be flying. Well, that is our episode.
Yeah, and like, I mean, it's a good time to go for Dan because he's pretty pissed at Serena because something's up and she's not talking to him.
So is this a single white female situation, or is he just trying to drive a wedge between Dan and Serena so she can get to Serena?
I mean, Georgina just came in and was just diabolical from an episode before she shows up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, she just starts doing shit. And Serena just takes it.
Clearly a chaos agent.
Yeah. And Serena just takes it. And takes it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so like, oh no, why is she doing this? And like, honestly, like, I know that she's like a very popular character on the show. But I like, yeah, that's all it seemed to be is just chaos. Is just, oh, we're just gonna come in and just fuck with Serena. And it's like it, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that the biggest thing is that because Serena's past is so established and public, and been discussed with everyone so much, that whatever this is, the severity of it, like, now there's like things like, did she hurt Blair in some way that Blair doesn't know about? Did she hurt, but like, just to not tell Dan is just a bad plot line, and it's out of character.
Yeah. Well,
like, it just isn't good.
I mean, it's definitely foreshadowed early in the season where they didn't communicate.
Yeah. But like,
we thought they learned the lesson.
Yeah. Overall, it just didn't feel like the writers were like working at this one. Like they just I don't know. I felt like they tried to build something up, but just only
Well, it's
gave
still,
us.
it's still building up, so we don't know.
Yeah, it could be.
Maybe
but
she did kill someone.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, let's hope. Wait.
So, any predictions outside of Serena and the Georgina plotline?
I predict a Blair Vanessa plotline.
Okay.
I predict something there. And you know, I do predict I feel like they're going to work towards some kind of triangle with Georgina, Dan, and Serena, but like it's already predicated on a lie from Georgina's part. So, like,
Dan's eventually going to find out and not go for that.
Exactly.
You would hope.
Well, yeah. But I could also see it culminating. I could see this culminating in the Dan and Serena breakup because I really feel like.
I mean, it definitely feels like that's coming.
They felt like they've been more and more comfortable, like even with their conflicts. And Dan even chimes in this episode, like dating someone rich is not without its conflict and not without its problems.
Mm-hmm. So that is our episode. So let's get into some segments. This week in fandom, I jumped into the Wayback Machine and checked out the Television Without Pity forums. And this week, there was definitely positive reactions to Nate and Vanessa. That was pretty much universal.
Yeah, I get that. I thought like you said, they had good chemistry.
And then about 70% or so of the posters refer to Georgina as Dawn.
Yes.
And still overwhelming support for Blair and growing hatred of Jenny.
Yeah,
Definitely checks out.
Yep.
Seems like the book fans were let down by this episode and expected a lot more charismatic version of Georgina. A lot of dislike for Michelle Trachtenberg's acting.
Yeah, I didn't think that she carried the weight that this character throws around.
Yeah. Now, I think she does. Her character does stick around for a lot of episodes throughout the series, right?
Yeah. I know that she's a recurring character,
and I do think they do lean into her acting style and change the character up better later on.
Okay, that's good. And now, is she like a main cast member? Is she more like Vanessa?
She's never main cast. Technically, Vanessa is main cast, but no, she's never.
She's more like Carter.
Yes, she is the break in case of emergency character.
Yeah,
if things get a little boring, they bring her out.
Yeah, I wasn't bored. I was not bored. I was, but again, like I said, I really do kind of feel like that was a writer's strike decision. Okay, let's bring this character in now instead of, because people have been waiting too long.
Yeah. So also in the forums, like we said, this show is probably targeted to younger high school age students. So they were commenting on how the writers clearly don't understand how the SATs work.
Yeah. Although there were a couple places that I thought that, but there were also, the whole like shutting the doors thing like that. That's true.
Yeah, that is
the
true.
main plot things in it, I felt.
Yeah. And there were a couple of Dan and Blair fans sprouting up. People enjoyed their scenes.
Yeah, but like, he can't. Yeah,
he can't date everyone, can he?
I mean, or can he? Not Jenny. Let's hope.
This suddenly became Game of Thrones podcast.
Yeah.
All right, let's move into some episode grades. I went first last time, so you're up first this week.
This is probably my lowest grade to date. I gave this episode a C.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was written well. I didn't think that that I didn't think that the characters really came out as authentic in a lot of ways. I really didn't like the introduction of Georgina Sparks. I didn't like Serena's decision making. I felt like anything. I think I found the words for it. Anything that would be so serious that Serena is acting this way puts too much weight on the levity of the rest of the show. You know, like the rest of the show isn't like dealing with murder. It's like season 2 of Friday Night Lights. Like, how did we get here?
Yeah.
You know,
which writer strike.
Yeah. Which it's the same. Yep. We got here the same way.
Yep. I went even lower. I gave it a C-. The writing was bad. The directing was okay, I guess. The acting, they didn't have much work to work with, but no one stood out. No one stood out at all. The music
there were none of those scenes where you're like, wow, Leighton really did this, or you know,
other than the forced flow rider, I thought the music was pretty good.
Yeah,
fit the scenes. But yeah, C- for me.
Yeah, I think that is a fair grade. I think this is the worst episode to date.
I agree. Stockwatch, who you got going up?
Nate and Vanessa. I thought those were good. Dog Boy, I couldn't remember his name. Asher. And Jenny. I gave it to Jenny. Like, she's a terrible person, becoming more terrible, but she did find a guy she did accomplish her goal of this episode, even though she was terrible and fucking dumb.
All right. I had going up, I had Blair, because she's getting her minions back, it looks like. She's definitely on her way back to being queen. And Chuck I had going up because he got to like rub one in Dan's face several times this week and had Serena turn into him, and you know, he got it. I'm assuming the guy he paid off probably got him a pretty good score.
Yeah.
Also had Nate and Vanessa going up because they had their little cute romance going on. And I had to give Georgina, even though the acting was not great, she came in and caused chaos.
So that's funny because was that all of yours?
That's all my going up, yes.
Because I actually have Georgina going down because she came in and was just a pain in my ass for an episode.
Yeah, I mean, she was a pain in the ass. You know, it was kind of stupid, but I mean, she accomplished what she was trying to do.
She did.
Who else you got going?
Although at the very end, she is throwing a temper tantrum because Serena like wanted to not have anything to do with her, and
yeah, but it clearly looks like she's got one over on Dan though.
Yeah, that's true too. I did not give Blair going up. And now that I'm looking back, like, you're right that she really did like make some moves and start getting her minions back. I felt like it was just such a nothing episode for her. Like, I just felt like
the scheme was weak. As we said, it's it was
weak
to write smart characters. You actually have to be smart.
To be really smart. Yeah.
So, but I'm just taking it at face value that she accomplished everything she wanted to do in this episode.
And that's fair. But I do have Serena going down, and Rufus is a bad dad. I forgot to write Rufus down, but Rufus is a bad dad, is becoming more and more of a bad dad. Mm-hmm. And, he goes down also.
Okay. I had Serena, and, she got played all episodes, so how could she not be going down? Yeah. Dan, because he was also just being lied to constantly. And looks like he's going to get, played. Single white female.
Yeah.
And Rufus, bad dad.
Yeah.
Nothing else to say there. He's just horrible at this point.
I let Dan off the hook because he kind of just coasted throughout the episode, but like,
he got played hard by Chuck several times.
He did. But yeah, I let him off the hook.
Okay. Fair enough. Best outfit. Who do you got?
Georgina on the night that she drugged Serena. I liked like the leathery jacket, and more than anything, I liked her accessories. Like she had a really cool necklace. The nail polish was kind of subtle, but like really kind of made it was like the dark purpley nail polish that kind of made the outfit pop. So I thought that was really cool.
For me, it was Blair's school uniform with the white and with black diamond sweater and the matching leggings. And she had a top with like a Brooks Brothers plaid lined half cape and a red braided Valentino bag.
The the designer uniforms for this school are fantastic. Like,
well, the thing is, like, they have the uniforms underneath and they put like stuff on top of it.
Yeah, but also it seems as though this school, some of the outfits, especially like Blair and
like you could barely see the uniform. I think it was like she had a sweater over the jumper. You could see her the skirt, and then but then she had a sweater over that over the jumper, and then also a cape on top of that.
Yeah. I just find that sometimes the school dress code allows for it's definitely embellishment. Yeah.
All right, that's it for the segments. Anything you would like to plug?
July 19th, I'll be at Fat Lady Brewing in Manayunk playing some music. So please come out to that. It's for part of Love Fest. Other than that, I don't really think I have much to plug.
Well, if we have any Dawson's Creek fans in the audience, I would recommend checking out Freaks and Creeks. It's 4 first-time watchers going through one episode at a time. They are currently in the 2nd season. They're really funny, so check them out, Freaks and Creeks. And then if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do that at NJBpod, on Instagram and TikTok, not at Non-Judging Breakfast Pod. And if you want to join us at the Non-Judging Breakfast Table, you can join us on Facebook, where we have a community group. Just search for Non-Judging Breakfast Pod.
Yeah, and if you want to get in touch with us, please feel free to send us an email at nonjudgingbreakfastpod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear what you have to say. We'd love to read your emails live if they are appropriate to read live. Mm-hmm. And we would love to hear what you have to say. Also, please like, comment, follow wherever you're listening to this or watching this.
Rate, review, subscribe.
Rate, review, subscribe. And also, more importantly, tell a friend. Listen with a friend. Laugh along with us and joke along with us. And let us know what you think.
Yeah. Next episode in 2 weeks, we'll be discussing Season 1, Episode 16, entitled All About My Brother. The Max episode preview reads, one of the Upper East Side teens reveals that they are gay.
Huh.
I don't know if did you actually see the description?
No.
Good, because I actually ungendered they gave the gender away in the description, but I ungendered it.
Nice. Well played.
So, yep, that is our episode. Catch us back in 2 weeks. Until next time, you know you love us. XOXO.
Take care. Is it Asher? That would really suck for Jenny.